In the high-stakes world of New York corporate law, they called her the Ice Queen, a billionaire CEO who ruled her empire with a heart of steel. But every night, she went home to a silent, $20 million penthouse, staring at a dining table set for one. She thought her heart had died years ago until she met Michael, a single dad working 2 jobs, showing up to meetings with coffee stains on his shirt and a light in his eyes that no amount of money could buy. She was his boss, his superior, and his secret admirer. He was just a man trying to survive. Neither of them knew that their silent struggles were about to collide in a boardroom explosion that would change the meaning of success forever. Michael Bennett was the kind of man you'd pass on a Manhattan sidewalk and never truly see. At 38, his life was a relentless cycle of not enough sleep, not enough money, and never enough time. Since his wife left 5 years ago, Michael had been drowning in the quiet, suffocating pain of single fatherhood. He worked as a mid-level analyst at Hartwell Industries, a job he clung to because it provided health insurance for his 10-year-old daughter, Emma. Every morning was a battle. On this particular Tuesday, Emma's science project, a DIY volcano, had erupted prematurely, coating the kitchen in blue slime. Michael had scrubbed the floor on his hands and knees, his heart racing as he realized he'd missed the 8:15 express train. By the time he reached the lobby of Hartwell Industries, he was disheveled and late. He didn't see Victoria Hartwell, the stunning, platinum blonde CEO, watching him from the mezzanine. To the world, Victoria was the personification of American success, worth billions, impeccably tailored, and utterly untouchable. But Victoria carried a different kind of pain, the hollow ache of being surrounded by people who only loved her balance sheet. For months, she had been watching Michael. She saw the way he stayed late to finish reports, but never missed a phone call from his daughter. She saw the exhaustion he tried to hide behind a polite smile. While Michael saw himself as a struggling nobody, Victoria saw a man with the kind of integrity she had spent her whole life searching for. Michael lived in constant fear of being fired for his unprofessional chaos. He had no idea that the woman who signed his paychecks had spent the last year engineering reasons just to be in the same room as him, and she was about to make a move that would risk both of their reputations. The walls between them began to thin when Victoria selected Michael to lead the company's new Green Future initiative. Suddenly, the man who felt invisible was sitting across from the most powerful woman in the city. Victoria tried to bridge the gap with subtle gestures. She'd linger near his desk, smiling at his frustrated sighs over Emma's violin practice. She even sent an anonymous, professional-grade violin to their apartment, claiming it was a corporate gift, just to see Michael's eyes light up when he talked about his daughter's joy. Michael, however, remained trapped in his own head. He was a man defined by his struggle. He couldn't imagine a billionaire CEO seeing him as anything more than a replaceable gear in her machine. When Victoria invited him to a working dinner to discuss investors, Michael turned her down flat. "I'm sorry, Miss Hartwell," he said, his voice thick with the guilt of a father who felt he was always failing. "Emma has a recital. I can't break another promise." Instead of the cold dismissal he expected, Victoria's eyes softened with a look of pure envy. "I played violin once," she whispered, her voice cracking with the memory of a lonely childhood spent in boarding schools. "Your daughter is lucky." That night, while Michael sat in a drafty school auditorium, Victoria sat in her office, staring at a skyline she owned but felt she didn't belong to. She realized then that Michael's struggle was actually the very thing that made him rich, a life full of love that no billionaire could buy. The silence between them was reaching a breaking point. When Michael's babysitter quit on the night of the final board presentation, Victoria did something that left the entire office speechless. She showed up at his front door with a bag of groceries and a plan that had nothing to do with business. Finding Victoria Hartwell sitting on his living room floor, covered in blue paint while helping Emma build a model solar system, shattered Michael's reality. For a few hours, the CEO and the single dad weren't separated by billions of dollars. They were just two people sharing a pizza and talking about the stars. But the morning brought the cold light of the corporate world. The presentation was a high-stakes battlefield. Charles Westfield, the company's most ruthless shareholder, had been waiting for a chance to take Victoria down. He launched a scathing attack, not on the project, but on Michael's competence. "You've wasted resources on this mid-level nobody," Westfield sneered, his voice echoing through the boardroom. The whole office is laughing at your obvious infatuation with a man who can't even afford a decent suit. The room went ice cold. Michael felt the familiar sting of shame, the old heartbreak of being told he wasn't enough. He expected Victoria to protect the company, to deny the rumors, to push him under the bus to save her throne. Instead, Victoria stood up, her face flushed with a mixture of rage and a year's worth of repressed pain. She didn't look at Westfield. She looked at Michael. In a moment of raw, unscripted vulnerability that would go down in Hartwell Industries history, Victoria Hartwell didn't give a speech. She gave her heart. She slammed her hands on the mahogany table and screamed the 5 words that would change Michael's life forever. "I love you, you idiot." Victoria's voice shook the room. "I've been in love with you for months, watching you fight for your daughter, watching you be a man of honor while everyone in this room fights for a stock price." The silence that followed was so heavy you could hear the city traffic 40 floors below. Westfield looked smug, convinced he had just watched Victoria commit professional suicide. Michael stood frozen, the blue slime on his shirt from that morning feeling like a badge of honor instead of a mark of shame. He looked at Victoria, really looked at her, and saw the lonely girl behind the billions. He walked around the table, ignoring the dozen executives staring in disbelief, and took her hand. "I was falling for you too," he whispered, his voice steady for the first time in years. "I just never thought someone like you could see someone like me." 6 months later, the Ice Queen had been replaced by a woman who knew the names of every kid in Emma's school. Michael didn't stop being a dad, and Victoria didn't stop being a CEO, but they stopped doing it alone. They realized that success isn't about the view from the penthouse, it's about who is standing next to you while you look at the stars. Michael's silent struggle had ended, not because he found a billionaire, but because he found a partner who understood that the hardest battles are the ones we fight for the people we love. Life in America can feel like a race with no finish line, leaving so many of us feeling like Michael, invisible, exhausted, and not enough. But your struggle is not your identity. Your integrity and the love you pour into your family are the true currencies of this world. Don't be so caught up in the hustle that you miss the person standing right in front of you. Sometimes, the breakthrough you've been praying for doesn't come in a paycheck, it comes in the courage to be seen, to be vulnerable, and to realize you are worth everything.
You're humming to the empty air. Your shadow's gone, but your scent's still there. A song plays softly in the back of my mind. It's you I'm missing, can't leave you behind. The moonlight flickers through the broken glass. Each shard reflects the moments from our past. A melody we built, now torn apart.